From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Could this historic day signal the beginning of the end of the pandemic? Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine arrives at hospitals across the country, including here in Indiana, and the first vaccinations have taken place.
Please do your part so that we can help the entire community not to have that surge upon a surge.
Despite the vaccine, a potential crisis during the pandemic looms in central Indiana. Hospitals from across our area are now coming together. What they need from you.
CVS is hiring hundreds across Indiana to help with the COVID vaccine rollout. The positions that are available, how you can help put an end to the pandemic and get paid.
Family contact, like parents reaching out to us, I feel like that has almost doubled.
The pandemic is having an impact on the mental health of many kids. We find out what parents should watch for and the help that's available. Good evening to you here at 6 o'clock, and thanks for being with us. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. First tonight, a historic day in the United States, a moment we've waited the better part of a year for. The first doses of Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine given to frontline healthcare workers today. This is critical care nurse Sandra Lindsay at Long Island Jewish Medical Center in the New York City borough of Queens. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said she received the first shot in New York. Here in Indiana, Fort Wayne's Parkview Health and Clark Memorial Hospital in Jeffersonville both received initial doses of the COVID-19 vaccine this morning. These are pictures from Parkview Health. Again, that's in Fort Wayne. There, a physician, a nurse, a respiratory therapist, a pharmacist, a patient care tech, and an environmental services tech all received the vaccine shortly after noon. IU Health Methodist Hospital will be the first in central Indiana to receive Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Today, IU Health officials told WRTV they expect to receive the vaccine and start administering it to frontline healthcare workers on Wednesday. In total, there are 5 pilot hospitals in Indiana receiving the vaccine first. We told you about Parkview Health in Fort Wayne, Clark Memorial in Jeffersonville, and IU Health Methodist in Indianapolis. Deaconess Hospital in Evansville and Community Hospital in Munster will also get the vaccine. Like IU Health, Deaconess Hospital and Community Hospital in Munster are still waiting on the first shipments of the vaccine. Eventually, the next step will be delivering the vaccine to about 50 sites across the state, but that is not happening quite yet.
Well, hospitals across central Indiana are now working together. Their goal? To make sure the local response to the pandemic is as effective as possible. WRTV's Stephanie Wade spoke with hospital administrators from around our area, and they tell her there's a potential looming crisis. Tonight, they're asking for your help.
We have actually had record numbers of daily patients with COVID in our hospital. Nearly every day for the last 2 weeks.
Hospital heads from Ascension St. Vincent, Community Health Network, Eskenazi Health, Franciscan Health, IU Health, and more, addressing today the current state of the pandemic in central Indiana.
In fact, Indiana has unfortunately earned the dubious distinction of being a national COVID-19 hotspot.
Local hospitals are facing a potential crisis, they say, as the surge of COVID-19 cases continues unabated. Beds, ventilators, and other support systems are being stressed to their limits.
We have patients that are extremely sick, and this is our second wave.
As recently documented by healthcare workers' video diaries.
Our team really is worried. We're seeing the second surge.
IU Health has over 1,100 employees on quarantine alone.
This work is physically and emotionally exhausting, and you can see it in their eyes.
This morning I'm tired, but I'm excited. Both of those because last night, the email came out allowing frontline providers to schedule for their vaccination.
But news of the vaccine to be delivered and distributed Wednesday to IU Health Methodist Hospital as one of the 5 hospitals in the state first to receive the vaccine brought excitement.
It's the first time we can go on the offensive with this virus. And so we've been playing defense. We've been hiding.
I heard from my staff the hope, the light at the end of the tunnel for the vaccine Oh my gosh, it's just there. But we also are frightened.
Some still scared about the back-to-back holidays doubling the existing surge of patients.
We realize that there are unfortunately still dark days ahead. And while the vaccine offers light at the end of the tunnel, that tunnel is long. So we need your help.
Doctors say, like other aerosol transmitted viruses, COVID-19 lasts longer in the drier winter air. That, coupled with the cold weather forcing people indoors with poor ventilation, they're begging people to socially distance and limit who you spend time with to your own household.
Thank you so much for doing your part. Together, we can curb this. Together, we have the means to stop the spread of this disease.
Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
Hospitals cannot require their staff to get the vaccine based on language in the emergency use authorization. They also won't separate employees who received the vaccine from those who didn't, but instead will protect all of their employees just the same. It's still unclear whether the vaccine reduces your symptoms or actually reduces the ability to spread the virus.
Today, Meijer announced that its pharmacies will eventually provide COVID-19 vaccines to a large number of patients. Meijer says it has the potential to host COVID-19 clinics inside its stores. The retailer will also look for bigger spaces, possibly stadiums, to hold COVID-19 vaccine clinics. The company cited its flu shot clinics at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis and Comerica Park in Detroit earlier this year as examples of what could be possible with the coronavirus vaccine. It is not exactly clear when Meijer will get and administer the vaccine. Hiring Hoosiers tonight, CVS has 700 open positions across the state that they need filled. Nursing homes and long-term care facilities will soon receive the COVID-19 vaccine, and CVS is preparing to help with that process. As WRTV's Troy Washington explains, they want all hands on deck when it comes to going into those facilities and getting Hoosiers vaccinated.
The teams out there are offering to do way above and beyond what they've ever done in the past, just because they're leading with heart and they care so deeply about all these patients.
According to Jeffrey Lackey, as the pandemic ramped up, CVS employees just kept stepping up.
We needed to back up our front lines. You fast forward to the fall, and all of a sudden we're facing into the flu surge, which is called the twindemic with the COVID-19, to do massive amounts of unprecedented amounts of flu vaccinations. We did 20 million, more than 20 million, which is nearly twice as much as we normally would do in a given year.
He says because of the demand, the company has worked hard to keep their doors open and minute clinics operating. But now they need even more help with the next phase of helping to get the COVID-19 vaccine out.
Within Indiana, the long-term care and skilled nursing facilities are where the patients are at. So that's where our farm techs and our pharmacists are going to be going out to those patients and entering into those facilities.
And they are willing to train medical professionals who want to lend a hand.
We are continuing to hire individuals as pharmacists, pharmacy tech, and RNs in particular. There's one thing that I always go for first. If you resonate with our purpose, helping people on the path to better health, and then you reflect our values, that's the first test.
Right now, the emphasis is on hiring workers to go into facilities to give the vaccine to those who are most vulnerable. But once the vaccine is available for wider distribution, here's how it'll work. Through CVS, vaccinations will be done by appointment only. And since it's a two-part vaccination, at registration, you'll book your first and second shots, then you'll get reminders via text and calls so you won't miss either. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
To learn more about these jobs, click on this story on hiringhoosiers.com. Right now on WRTV.com, everything you need to know about COVID-19 vaccines. We've got information in a question and answer format, so it's easy to follow and understand. That's all on WRTV.com/coronavirus.
Nearly 1,000 fewer additional COVID-19 cases reported today, but keep in mind Monday numbers are usually lower because of a delay in reporting due to the weekend. So today the Indiana Department of Health confirms 5,050 additional coronavirus cases. Yesterday there were 6,025 newly reported cases. A total of 430,401 Hoosiers have now been diagnosed with COVID-19. Data from the Department of Health also shows 35 additional deaths from COVID, bringing the total to 6,530. But take a look at this graph from the Department of Health. It shows as of yesterday, 3,072 Hoosiers were hospitalized statewide either with COVID or symptoms that could develop into COVID. That's no doubt a large number, but that's the lowest number of people hospitalized in Indiana in relation to the coronavirus since November 18th. It's too early to tell if this downward trend will continue, but we will keep an eye on it. It's also worth pointing out here about 23.5% of the state's ICU beds are available.
The pandemic is having a major negative impact on the mental health of kids and teens across the country. That is according to the CDC. Mental health professionals and school counselors say that's true here in Indiana as well. Our Alyssa Donovan explains what is being done to help students and how you can recognize warning signs in your kids.
As students continue to adjust to hybrid or virtual learning, lack of social interaction with friends and lack of extracurricular opportunities is starting to have an impact. Counselors within schools and mental health professionals in hospitals are seeing an increase in kids who need help.
This is how the mind appears when it's calm, bright, serene, and happy.
This is a video students at Clay Middle School watched last week during their study hall period. It talks about mindfulness and how stress can impact students, giving them tools to use when they're feeling overwhelmed or a sense of anxiety. Something Brittany Coates says they're seeing quite a bit of this year.
We are definitely seeing an increase of students talking about anxiety when it comes to either their own personal relationship or experience with COVID.
Coates is one of 45 counselors and social workers within Carmel Clay School District. She says in her 8 years working with students, this has definitely been her busiest year.
Definitely an increase in the frequency that we're meeting with them.
And it's not just in our schools. IU Health has also seen an increase in those under the age of 18 coming in for mental health issues.
Any place from 11 to 15 or 16 is where I've seen most of the increase.
Dr. Ann Gilbert says most are coming in with depression and stress. In the past, she would have seen maybe 5 or 6 kids a day, but that number has doubled.
We're hospitalizing more of them too.
Gilbert believes the lack of socialization is a big part of the problem.
One of the most important things that kids do in their life at this point in time is form relationships.
And social workers like Coates are trying to help address these issues with students as much as possible. Coates is meeting with students daily, in person, over Zoom, and through a messaging system in their online class portal.
So we are definitely seeing that there are students who wouldn't typically reach out, but they are reaching out now.
While her school district is working to normalize conversations around mental health with videos like this, she's also encouraging parents to talk with their students at home. I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
There are some warning signs that a child or teen is struggling with depression or anxiety. This includes losing interest in activities they used to be interested in, no longer talking to friends, and changes in eating or sleeping patterns. If you notice any of these, reach out to your school counselor or a mental health professional.
An update now to a story we first brought you last week on the news at 6. We told you about how WRTV was able to help an 8-year-old boy, who you see here, get a much-needed surgery, and we are happy to report he is doing much better. Jaden Hampton was having dozens of seizures before finally get a procedure last week that's expected to reduce or eliminate those seizures caused by epilepsy. Today, according to his mom, Jaden says he feels like a new boy. He's asking for coffee and he's up walking around. Jaden is no longer relying on pain medication. His mother was having a tough time getting results from the insurance company. That's until WRTV stepped in to help. We're glad to see he's doing much better. We do have breaking news to tell you about tonight. President Trump's Attorney General William Barr is resigning, which will become effective just before Christmas on December 23rd. That is according to the Associated Press. This comes after President-elect Joe Biden's election win over President Trump. Much more on this coming up on World News Tonight with David Muir at 6:30 right after this newscast.
And in Democracy 2020, today, Indiana's electoral voters officially cast their ballots for President Donald Trump and Vice President Mike Pence, giving them the state's 11 electoral votes. President Trump and Vice President Pence won a majority of Indiana's votes, so all 11 electoral votes go to their administration. States all over the country are formally casting their electoral ballots for President Trump or President-elect Joe Biden. The constitutionally mandated process takes place after each presidential election. This process is mostly a formality, as the 11 electors are chosen by each political party. The Democratic Party picked 11 different people in the event Biden won the state.
If you're waiting on the first accumulating snow of the season, you may not have to wait too long. We'll talk about some midweek snow potential coming up.
The Colts trip to the desert turned into a big win on Sunday. Coming up in sports, see how a pair of dynamic individual performances helped get the team one step closer to the playoffs.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 6, streaming now.
Why wait? Let's go ahead and jump into Wednesday's forecast. I'm sure that's at the top of your list that you want to hear about the potential for snow. It doesn't look like a big event, but the first event is always a big deal, right? When we step into it, may impact the morning drive, especially south of Indianapolis. So let's go through the timeline first. This system is kind of grazing the state. We're on the west-northwest edge of this. 7 a.m., there's some snow from Indy to Terre Haute and then south. Then as we go through the morning, you see how it's continuing south and east of Indy and then expands again in the afternoon. That is likely to set up a situation where we have an inch of snow, say from Indy northwest or less, and more to the south and east. Now, this is one forecast model that's kind of portraying that scenario. Another brings in a little more widespread 1 to maybe 2 inches of snow. We'll keep our eye on which model may win out here, as there's always some variance in the axis of where the heavier snow will be. But that's what we're talking about as far as snow potential, and temperatures slightly above freezing will make that somewhat slushy in the afternoon. We're not above freezing now. 29 in Indy. Skies are clear. The wind will calm down a bit. That will set the stage for cold temperatures. That's what we're looking at overnight tonight. Temperatures will stay in the low 20s. These are wind chill temperatures, though. That's what it feels like right now, and those will be similar to the low temperatures tomorrow. 35 tomorrow, lots of clouds, whereas we got our late day sunshine today. We'll hang with the clouds. There's your light snow Wednesday. Thursday, mostly cloudy, 36. We'll start to warm up after that. Temperatures from north to south tomorrow at or below freezing north, should climb above freezing right along Interstate 70 and settle to about 36 to 38 in the southern portion of the state. There is your hourly forecast for Wednesday. As I mentioned, snow possible just about any time through the morning and afternoon. May taper off in the western half of the state in the evening, but continue in eastern Indiana. Then we'll turn our attention to a gradual but sustained warming trend. We'll be back to 42 by Saturday and Sunday. Chance maybe even some rain showers on a Saturday. Temperatures by Monday up to 47. Indications above average temperatures then would carry us beyond this and through Christmas. Mark?
I can't believe it's just next week. All right, thanks, Kevin. The Indianapolis Colts dramatically improved their chances to make the playoffs with a convincing road win Sunday against the Las Vegas Raiders. WRTV Sports' Brad Brown breaks down what you need to know about the Colts as the team enters the final 3 games of the regular season.
There were several picture-perfect moments from Sunday's Colts win in Las Vegas. But few are getting quite as much buzz as Kenny Moore's showstopper of an interception in the second quarter.
Well, on that call, I was just reading Renfro, and he went out and Waller stayed up, and I just made a play. I saw Carr eyeing him before the play. I know he wanted one of them, but when he get down there, he wanted a touchdown. He don't want to go out with 3.
I didn't know if Odell Beckham Jr. was, playing defense for us, right, with that catch. I mean, that was unbelievable. I had to stop for a second there. I mean, that did he actually catch that ball? It was one of those almost once in a lifetime catches. Just a tremendous play.
That had me going crazy, and I almost missed the next play because I was too busy trying to celebrate with him. So. That was amazing. That's definitely a top 2 catch, most definitely.
T.Y. Hilton hit the jackpot in Vegas as well. 2 touchdown catches in the first half matched his TD total for the entire season up to that point. His 13 catches the last 2 weeks are as many as he had in the previous 4 games. How much is T.Y. feeling it? How about having the whole offense ready to dance?
Me and Zach came up with it throughout the week that, let's do the lean with it, rock with it. So I started talking to the tight ends, the running backs, and the O-line, and they was like, "Oh, let's do it." So we was kind of practicing it throughout the week, and then, we executed it pretty good.
The Colts host the Texans this Sunday. The team announcing they are reducing capacity at Lucas Oil Stadium to just 10,000 after continuing to work with county health officials, citing the rising COVID-19 case numbers. Tickets are still available for that game. And the bucket game is back on. Indiana and Purdue unable to play this past weekend. Too many COVID cases for both teams. They'll try one more time to close out the Big Ten's championship week schedule. 7:30 kickoff on the calendar in Bloomington. It's the first time the Old Oaken bucket game will ever be played in December.
Our goal is to try to find a way to get a W. And I think, if we do those things, then normally decent things happen. But, we've got a lot of work to do, and we want to put our head down as coaches and players and make sure that we're working as hard as we can and to figure it out and to go out there, compete, and to play hard and to give ourselves a chance to win.
IU enters ranked 7th in the AP and coaches polls. They could secure a spot in a New Year's 6 bowl game with a win. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Tomorrow, we'll just focus on the thermometer. No precipitation expected. We'll have lots of clouds around, and that will slow the temperature climb. 31 by the time we get to noon. Those afternoon high temperatures, again, just above the freezing mark. That sets the stage for some Wednesday snow that we'll keep our eye on. Mark, Amanda?
All right, Kevin, thank you. And thanks for choosing WRTV News at 6.
World News Tonight with David Muir is next. Then join us again for the news at 7.